Ladies and gentlemen, success doesn't happen by chance. It's not a lottery ticket. It's not a single lucky break. Success is a daily commitment, a lifestyle, a routine built with intention, discipline, and purpose. Look at the world's most successful people: Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey, Warren Buffett, Serena Williams. What do they all have in common? Their achievements look extraordinary, but their days, surprisingly ordinary. Yet powerful, they don't wait for motivation. They don't rely on inspiration. Instead, they build habits. Small, smart, consistent actions that compound over time. They wake up early not to look impressive, but to gain control of their day before the world's chaos kicks in. They guard their focus like treasure. You won't find them scrolling endlessly or drowning in distractions. They treat time as their most precious asset. They read, not just for entertainment, but to learn, grow, and stay ahead. Leaders are readers. They prioritize health, not as an afterthought, but as a foundation. A sharp mind needs a strong body. They plan, daily, weekly, monthly. Clarity breeds action. Action builds momentum. They reflect. Each day they ask themselves, did I move closer to my vision today? That question alone fuels purpose and progress. And most importantly, they never stop, even when it's boring, even when it's hard. Even when no one is watching. That's the difference between wanting success and living it. So if you want to be ultra successful, don't just chase the outcome, embrace the process, craft your habits, protect them, repeat them. Ultra successful people never stop learning. To them, learning isn't something that ends with a diploma or a degree. It's not limited to classrooms or certifications. For the ultra-successful, learning is a way of life. A hunger, a habit, a non-negotiable. They understand that the mind is a muscle, and just like a bodybuilder builds strength through daily reps at the gym, successful people grow their mind through daily reps of reading, reflecting, listening, and applying. They don't wait to be taught. They seek knowledge relentlessly. They dig for it. They chase it. They absorb it from books, mentors, podcasts, interviews, documentaries, audiobooks, and real-world experiences. They don't see education as an event. They see it as an ongoing evolution. Warren Buffett spends 80% of his day reading. Bill Gates reads 50 books a year. Elon Musk taught himself rocket science by reading and asking questions. These individuals aren't just accumulating facts. They're expanding their perspective. They're upgrading their thinking, because they know that success at the highest level isn't just about what you do, it's about how you think. And they don't just learn from victories, they learn deeply from failure. While others get discouraged by setbacks, the ultra-successful dissect them. They study their losses, analyze their mistakes, and treat every experience, good or bad, as data. To them, failure is never the end, it's feedback. They don't get trapped in the ego of knowing it all. Instead, they live with curiosity, they ask questions, they challenge their own beliefs, they welcome criticism when it leads to growth. And they surround themselves with people who stretch them mentally. They don't want to be the smartest person in the room, they want to be the most teachable. This mindset of constant, deliberate learning is what keeps them relevant, innovative, and ahead of the curve. While others stagnate, they evolve. While others get comfortable, they adapt. While others rely on past knowledge, they build the future with new insight. And the best part, they don't just learn for achievement, they learn for fulfillment. For them, feeding the mind is like feeding the soul. It sharpens their decision making, expands their vision, and deepens their sense of purpose. In today's world, the rarest and most valuable currency is focus. Not money, not followers, not even time, because no matter how much time you have without focus, without true, deliberate attention, nothing meaningful gets done. The ultra-successful understand this better than anyone. They know that attention is power. Where your focus goes, your energy flows, and your results follow. That's why they treat their focus with discipline. They defend it like a fortress. They don't let notifications, gossip, endless scrolling, or multitasking dilute their potential. While most people are bouncing between tabs, drowning in emails, or reacting to every buzz on their phone, high performers are working deeply. They block out distractions, they silence the noise, they turn off their phones or put them in another room. They create space for deep, uninterrupted work, because they know real progress happens when your mind is still, present, and locked in. They prioritize what matters most, not what's most urgent. Ultra-successful individuals don't try to do 100 things a day. They zoom in on the top 1 or 2 things that will make the biggest difference, and then they go all in. They understand the principle of less but better. Instead of being everywhere, they choose to be fully present where it matters. Steve Jobs once said, "Focus is about saying no." That quote captures the mindset of the elite, saying no to distraction, no to shallow commitments, no to people who pull them off course, because every yes to something unimportant is a no to something essential. And focus isn't just about work, it's how they handle conversations, learning, rest, and even fun. When they read with intensity. When they listen, they truly listen. When they rest completely. They don't live fragmented lives. They live with intention in every moment. Controlling your focus is a choice, a muscle, a discipline, and like any discipline, it gets stronger with use. The more you practice focus, the more powerful you become, not just mentally, but emotionally and strategically. Because clarity brings confidence, and confidence brings results. One of the most defining habits of the ultra-successful is their ability to rise before the rest of the world wakes up. This isn't just about waking up early for the sake of routine. It's about taking control of the most important part of the day, the beginning. The early morning hours are sacred. They're quiet, undisturbed, and full of potential. While the world is still asleep, the ultra-successful are already in motion, reading, thinking, planning, exercising, or meditating. They are sharpening their minds and preparing their bodies for what lies ahead. Waking up early gives you a head start. It allows you to operate on offense, not defense. You're not reacting to emails, social media, or someone else's demands. You're proactively investing in yourself. That 1 or 2 hours of deep focus in the morning often becomes the most powerful and productive time of the day. Many of the world's most accomplished people swear by this habit. Apple CEO Tim Cook is up at 3:45 a.m. Oprah begins her day with meditation and a gratitude walk before sunrise. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson starts training before most people hit snooze. These people have the same 24 hours as you and me, but their edge comes from mastering their mornings. But it's not just about the time you wake up. It's about what you do with that time. Ultra-successful individuals don't use those early hours to scroll through Instagram or binge videos. They use them with intention. They stretch, they move, they read, they plan, they visualize, they set the tone. The morning becomes their secret weapon, the launch pad for the rest of the day. And here's the truth most people overlook. Waking up early isn't about being superhuman. It's about creating an environment and a purpose so strong that getting up becomes a decision, not a debate. It's about recognizing that winning the morning often means winning the day. It's about building a discipline that compounds into. Successful people don't just work hard, they take care of themselves harder, because they know that true, sustainable success is not built on burnout, exhaustion, or emotional chaos. It's built on energy, clarity, and resilience, all of which start with a healthy body and a strong, steady mind. They treat their health like it's their business, because it is. You can't lead a billion-dollar company, create world-changing ideas, or build a legendary career if your body is falling apart or your mind is clouded with stress. That's why the ultra-successful don't put their well-being on the back burner. They make it a top priority, just like their biggest meetings, projects, or deadlines. They move their bodies, not for vanity, but for vitality. Whether it's lifting weights, running, yoga, martial arts, or simply walking in the early morning silence, they understand that physical activity isn't a chore, it's a ritual, a way to wake up the body and reset the brain. Regular exercise sharpens their focus, boosts their energy, and builds the mental toughness needed to push through challenges. They also eat with intention. They don't fuel their bodies with junk. They choose foods that energize them, nourish them, and keep them sharp. They hydrate, they rest, they unplug because they know productivity without recovery is a recipe for collapse. But physical health is only one side of the coin. Ultra-successful individuals also prioritize mental health. Quiet time, solitude, self-awareness, and emotional strength. Many of them meditate, journal, or spend time in nature, not as a trendy hobby, but as a non-negotiable practice for staying grounded and clear, headed in the middle of pressure, noise, and expectation. They protect their mental space, they set boundaries, they say no to negativity, drama, and toxic environments. They invest in therapy, coaching, or spiritual growth, not because they're broken, but because they want to stay balanced, aware, and emotionally intelligent. Because here's what they've learned: your body is the vehicle that carries your dreams. Your mind is the engine that drives them. And if either one breaks down, no amount of ambition will get you to where you want to go. The ultra-successful don't drift through life, they design it. Every day, every hour, every action is tied to a deeper purpose. And that clarity, it comes from two powerful practices that most people overlook: planning and reflection. Before the day begins, they already know where it's going. They don't wake up and see what happens. They don't let emails, messages, or other people's demands dictate their priorities. Instead, they start the day with intention. With a pen in hand or a digital planner open, they map out the most important tasks, set clear goals, block time for deep work, and visualize what success looks like today. They break big visions into daily execution. Because they understand, dreams become reality one day at a time, and a day without a plan is like a ship without a rudder. It might stay afloat, but it won't go anywhere meaningful. But planning is only half the story. At the end of the day, they pause to reflect. They don't just close the laptop and jump into distractions. They take a moment to look back. What did I accomplish today? What went well? What drained me? What energized me? Did I live according to my values? This daily reflection keeps them grounded, accountable, and focused. It's how they track progress, course, correct when needed, and reconnect with their why. It gives them insight. It builds wisdom, and it prevents weeks or years from slipping away in a blur of busy work. This habit isn't glamorous, it doesn't go viral, but it's one of the most powerful daily rituals behind lasting success. Because it's not just about doing more, it's about doing what matters consistently. Planning gives them direction, reflection gives them perspective. And when those two come together, they unlock a rhythm of momentum, one day building on the next, one insight sharpening the next move, one win setting the tone for another. If there's one truth the ultra-successful live by, it's this: motivation is fleeting, but discipline is dependable. They don't rely on feeling ready or in the mood to take action, because they know those feelings are temporary. Some days you wake up inspired, other days you don't. But if your dreams are only pursued when you're feeling good, they'll never become reality. Ultra-successful individuals have learned to detach action from emotion. They act because it's necessary, not because it's convenient. They show up not just when it's exciting, but also when it's uncomfortable, tedious, or repetitive. That's where discipline lives. That's where the results are made. They create routines so strong that their actions become automatic. They eliminate decision fatigue by planning in advance. They don't waste mental energy debating whether or not to go to the gym, write the chapter, make the call, or review the strategy. It's already decided. It's part of who they are. Discipline is their silent advantage. While others wait for the perfect time, the perfect mood, or the perfect opportunity, the ultra-successful take small, consistent steps forward every single day, whether they feel 100% or not. They've trained themselves to keep promises to themselves, and that builds a deep inner confidence, one that doesn't require external validation, and it's not about being robotic or emotionless. It's about honoring a higher standard. It's about understanding that temporary discomfort is the price of long-term freedom, the freedom to live life on your terms, the freedom to build something that lasts, the freedom to move forward when others freeze. They recognize that motivation may ignite a goal, but discipline is the fuel that carries it through storms. It's how athletes train on rainy mornings, how entrepreneurs grind through setbacks, how writers finish books even on days filled with doubt. And most importantly, discipline is what allows them to trust themselves, to build resilience, to create momentum that keeps moving forward regardless of what life throws at them. Ultra-successful people look at time differently. While the average person trades time for money, they treat time as more valuable than money because time, once spent, never returns. They understand that every second carries weight, every minute is a choice. And the way you spend your time today directly shapes the life you live tomorrow. To them, time is not something to kill. It's not something to waste. It's not something to fill. Time is something to protect, invest, and maximize with ruthless precision. They don't let the hours slip by in autopilot. They don't get caught in endless meetings, mindless scrolling, or shallow conversations. They audit their schedules like a financial portfolio. They analyze where their time goes, eliminate what drains them, and double down on what moves them forward. They delegate, they automate, they say no more than they say yes. Because they're not chasing busy, they're chasing impact, and when they say I don't have time, they don't mean it literally. They mean that's not aligned with my mission. Because they've learned that success isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters most consistently. They block their calendars with intention. Their mornings are designed for focus, their afternoons for strategy, their evenings for recovery. Each part of their day has a purpose, and that purpose is aligned with their goals, values, and vision. They understand that you become what you repeatedly do with your time. If you spend your hours watching others, you live in the shadow of their story. But if you invest your hours building, learning, reflecting, and creating, you write your own, time isn't just something they manage, it's something they master, because they know you can lose money and earn it back. You can lose a deal and negotiate a new one, but when time slips through your fingers, there's no refund, no redo, no restart. That's why every moment is measured, every block of time is respected, every day is viewed not just as another 24 hours, but as a chapter in their legacy.